All right. It's a clear example of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26, man. Oh, my thing's beeping. Right. Find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets and her hands as bands. That's true, man. It's true. This is a clear-cut example of that. And this is from the brother's channel, SHALAWAM Israel 777. His name is Hawashai Zion. That's the brother's name. And it says, watch out for the tactics of modern day women. This is madness. Don't fall for it. It's true. Don't fall for it. And he's giving you a sincere warning to watch out for these women and their tactics that they use in this society. That's to entrap you, to get you caught up with the law. Hey, one of them tactics they use is child support. And this is a case. This is the case for this video. This woman is trying to put this man on child support, which he is a good man, right? Trying to get him to pay for a child that's not his, and that's simply because he stepped to the plate and he adopted the woman, but he never signed the birth certificate. It was her biological father, which her biological father is in jail. So now she just wants to get a paycheck from this guy. That's why she's putting him on child support. And guess who's sitting right beside her? Ecc. And Ecc, man, he empowers these women to go up against you. He makes the law in their favor. And that's why usually when they file for child support, a majority of the time they win, right? They always side. And Hawashai Zion goes into that. He explains it in more detail. He basically says, I'm just going to sum it up. He basically says, this society is set up for you to pay to win, so to speak. So if you have a good lawyer and you have lots of money and you're able to drag out the case longer, you're most likely going to win. But for the most part, our men, we don't got it like that. A lot of us don't have a lot of money like that. So that's why we end up losing, which that's wicked as hell, right? If you don't have enough money to prove that you shouldn't have to pay for a child that's not yours, then you still get screwed over. Like, what is that? So this reminds me of Isaiah chapter 3, man. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. And it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. Wow. So true, man. Yeah, children are their oppressors too. Got a lot of gangs out here. Kind of reminds me of the movie City of God. The City of God. It's a Brazil movie that came out, I think, back in 2002. It's an old movie. It goes into the lives of these criminal, I think these teenage criminal gangs in Brazil, the favelas. And it's Israelites, man. I think that's a tribe of Ashar. And yeah, man, the children, they were running the streets, man, and oppressing the people in their communities, man. City of God. And that's what you have out here. You have a lot of gangs out here with these teenagers, teenage gangs, these young children, stick-up kids, robbing, purse snatching, robbing old people, killing old people. Yeah, man. So, yeah, children are your oppressors, man. And women rule over them. Yeah, the woman's in charge of the house. And guess what? She's over you. And the so-called white man, he empowers the woman and child to be over you. And that's done through the law. Okay, so he empowers these women to be over you. And if you go against them, oh man, you're going to catch hell. You might even lose your life or get thrown in jail, man. Right? So, yeah, women rule over them. That's right, they are over you. Right? And that's why you see this, man. Esau and Eve together. This is her lawyer, by the way. Right? But, these lawyers, they work for the state. And they have to follow the laws of the state. Okay? So, yeah, either way. And he knows, man, he knows that this guy isn't the father. He knows. I can see the look on his face. He's like, this woman's a bitch, but you know what? I got to follow through because I got to get paid. Right. So you brothers, man, even if you, like, because we're in an imperfect world, man. Even if you get a good lawyer, you have the money, you're still putting money back into this man's system because you got to pay that lawyer and you got to do all this stuff. And it sucks, man. You still lose money. It is what it is. All right, so anyways, let me get another one. Compass a man. She's going to compass you, and she compasses you with the law. Compass a man. This is Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. What? Feminism, women rights. You know how a woman shall compass a man? Think about it. Man, think about it. Child support was really set up for survival. Okay, on a grassroots level, it was set up for survival. Like, women were only supposed to go on that for survival. Right? And I'll say this, some women do need it. Now, is that scriptural? Like, is that biblical? Like, is child support supposed to be in the scriptures? No, it's not. It's not. All right? You're not supposed to do all that. Divorce and alimony and all that's it. All that stuff. She gets half. No, that's not in the scriptures. But there are women that do need it, but it was originally created for survival. So the woman wouldn't get totally screwed over by a wicked man. But it's come to the point now where these women, they use child support to finance their materialistic wants. Like I said, wants, not needs, wants. So that means they'll use the money for vanity, man. They'll use it for their hair, their nails, or they'll go out shopping with their friends, or they'll use it for a date to go out with another man instead of using that money to take care of the child. And that shows that we're at the end, and it shows that people, and especially women in this society, they're way too comfortable. The reason why she's on child support is because she wants to feel her vanity. That's all it is. Because she's going to take that money, take that guy's money, not be with him, and then she's going to go into another relationship. Then that dude, he's going to probably take care of her and splurge on her, while at the same time she's getting that money from that next man, from the child support. Right? So it's vanity, man. It's just to finance her lust and her materialistic wants. So that's wicked, man. Right? And that's the scriptures. Scriptures doesn't lie. A woman shall compass a man. They have more rights than you. That's fucked. That's fucked. But that's hell. That's what we're in. So now let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. And this is what Brother Hawashai Zion read as well. I just want to read it as well. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman, wow. Anyways, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. And these are the words of King Solomon, the wisest man to have ever lived, and one of the richest man to have ever lived, I believe, right? So serious man. He dealt with a lot of women. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines. So in total, he had 1,000 wives, pretty much. So he knew the woman's psyche. He knows how a woman gets down, especially a wicked and adulterous woman. And I'm going to go into another example of that too, because I'm going to go into the case of the two harlots that he had to judge, going into the book of 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16 on down. So King Solomon, man, he knew the mind of a woman, and it was all, especially an adulterous and wicked woman, and it was all snares and nets, right? So the heart of an adulterous woman is snares and nets. Never forget that. And she's really playing a game to ruin your life, to ruin your soul, to ruin your connection with Yahweh Shai. And guess what? She plays that game with much art and subtlety. Okay? And don't you ever forget that. It's like a game to her, and she does it so like it's so like she does it in a way where it's so, I don't know, man. She does it with, because I use the word art. It's like an art form. Like she has it down to a science on how she's gonna set you up. Yeah, that's what I want to say. She has like a formula. She has it down to a science to fuck you up. And this woman planned it, man. Like she had it down. She knew that she was trapping this guy from the very beginning. Like she set him up. It's like, yeah, when his guard's down, then I'm gonna get the lawyer. Yeah, okay. He signed them adoption papers. Okay, yeah, I got him in the bag. I'm gonna do it. Okay, keep playing nice, but at the very end, then I'm gonna be very mean to him. Yeah. She set this guy up. And if you're not strong, and especially if you're not spiritual, and if the Lord's not with you, you're going to be a victim, man. You're going to be a victim. You are going to be a victim. A victim. So, yeah, man, she just takes this as it's like a game. It's just a game to her, to ruin your life, to ruin your soul, to ruin your connection with Yahweh Shai. It's like a cat and mouse game, man. And I have a cat, man. And cats, they're very cruel. They're very cruel creatures. They're very cruel when it comes to them dealing with their prey. Because, man, I was watching my cat, man. He was playing with this mouse. He didn't even want to eat it. The man was just playing with it like it was a toy. And it's like he was trying to scare it to death so it can get a heart attack. And he was like jumping around it, pushing it around with his paw, and he was like enjoying it too. And when the mouse didn't die after he was scaring it, he broke its legs. I saw him break its legs so it couldn't move. He paralyzed it. And then the mouse, it still didn't die. It still didn't. Usually they just die, right? They get a heart attack. So that didn't suffice the cat, right? So you know what he did? He just slapped it up with his paws and flicked it around until it died. And then once it died and had no life anymore, he just stared at it and didn't care about it and left. He didn't even eat it. It wasn't for food. It wasn't for survival. And that's how these women are, man. They'll string you along, play with you like a cat. And once they're done with you, once they've destroyed you, they'll leave and go about their business, man. And it's on to the next simp. That's how they are. So, yeah, it's like a game to these women. It's a game. It's a game. It's a game, man. It's just a game. All right, so let's go into 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16. Solomon wisely judges. Yeah, this is the account where he judges the two harlots. One of them, I guess they had a dispute over the fact that somebody stole another's baby, right? So it shows you, man, women, they deal badly with each other. So what makes you think they're going to deal good with you as a man? They're bitter towards each other, man. So if they treat each other this way, how do you think they're going to treat you? So this is 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16. Then came there 2 women that were harlots. That's right, sluts, whores, ones who got paid, who got paid for sex, right? Unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. She slept on the baby, yo. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. Wow, ostrich, man, how you sleep on your baby, yo? Verse 21, and when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. So someone stole her baby, right? A woman stole her child. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Yeah, so they went back and forth. No, you're lying. I'm right. No, you were lying. Verse 23, Then said the king, the one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided. That's right. So he rooted out the rat. That's my baby. That's not yours. That's this. So the one that pretty much cried for the little baby boy to not die was the real mother, right? So he understood the psyche of a woman. It's all snares. It's all a game. And this shows me, man, you never go back on your word when it comes to dealing with a woman, and you have to be very thorough, right? They're always going to play games, and you have to be very, very stern. And sometimes it's going to come off as mean, but you have to be that way. You have to be that way. And it takes certain men, longer to get that, right? It takes men a little bit longer to get that and to develop that type of skill. But if you keep staying in the scriptures and keeping your mind right, it'll eventually come. But yeah, never go back on your word with these women, and stay firm. Stay firm. Now, the only time you go back is when she's pleading a case in righteousness, trying to prove her innocence. And when her innocence is proven, then you can go back and tone down a bit. But that's about it. So that's a good example. He understood the psyche of these women. And they're not right, man. They're not right. Now, let me get 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. So the husband, which is the man, you're supposed to dwell with your wife according to knowledge. And the knowledge comes out of the scriptures. Right? It comes out of the scriptures. And you dealing with Yahweh Shem Shai, that's how you got to deal with your woman. Now it says giving honor unto the wife. So it doesn't say dwell with them according to lust. Dwell with them according to pleasure. No, it says knowledge. Right? And knowledge, wisdom, and understanding comes out of these scriptures. Right? So you gotta deal with them when it comes to the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? So what is your duty as a man? It says provider of food, raiment, and the duty of marriage, right? So that's a part of the knowledge. That goes back to the law. Let me read that. Duty of marriage, which is really sex. All right, so Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. And it says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage, shall he not diminish? So yeah, you have to feed her, you have to clothe her, and you also have to lie down with her. You have to sleep with her, which means have sex. Shall he not diminish? And you cannot diminish those three things. So you have to do that. You're obligated to her. Verse 11, and if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. That's right. So she can leave you if you don't do these things. Okay? Right? If you're slothful in any of these. Okay? Remember, it said 3 things. You have to do all of these things. All right? So that's law. Okay? So that's the knowledge. Dwell with them according to knowledge. Knowledge is the law, statutes, and commandments. And there's many more things on how to take care of your wife and do things and stuff. Anyways, let me go back. 1 Peter. My bad. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. And it says, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. Yeah, so you're supposed to honor her, but you're supposed to also acknowledge her as the weaker vessel. Right? So you know that she's the weaker vessel. So when you read this, you have to understand that she's the weaker vessel. And also, we are not in a perfect world. And by default, that means you're not perfect. And also, she's not going to be perfect, especially as the weaker vessel. So she's going to be stupid, man. She's going to be childish. She's going to be annoying. But you have to accept that. Okay? So that's why it says, as unto the weaker vessel, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. So you know she's going to be weak. You know that. You know that. So this shouldn't surprise you. Don't think that she's not going to betray you. Right? And I'm not just saying this because, oh, you're bitter. You have a broken heart. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's just reality. It's just reality. I gave you the examples. I went into 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16. Those were 2 weak vessels being wicked towards each other, man. And they had to come to a man for their problem to be solved. Okay, so she's weak. She's weak. And guess who she ran to? She ran to the law. She ran to the judge, the man in charge, which is Esau, Edom. She didn't run to you. And that shows you, Jake, you have no power. Right? So if you have no power, you have to acknowledge your surroundings, and you have to accept certain things. You have to accept that she's not perfect, she's weak, you're not perfect, you're not in a perfect world, and you're not in charge. So now you have to trust in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai to help you navigate in this wicked system and to help you to avoid these wicked women, man. All right? So let's go back. And it says here, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. True. Now, let me get this. This is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. No, yeah, 1 Timothy. Why did I get second? 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14 here. And it says, neglect not the gift. No, I wanted 2. So I'll get 2, verse 14, not 4. Yeah, this is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. And it says here, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. So you see that? So Adam was not deceived because he wasn't the weaker vessel. He was a stronger vessel. And you know what that means? He had more faith. So your woman was deceived because she lacks faith. So that's why you get the word effeminate. Effeminate just means you lack faith. You're an infidel. So a lot of these women, man, they're faithless. They don't really believe in the Lord. They believe in what they can see and feel and touch. And what she sees and what she feels is that the so-called white man's in power. He's in charge, which he is. But he isn't righteous. But she doesn't care about that because she just wants results. Right? So you have to understand that. That's just how she thinks of you and the Lord. She doesn't think the Lord is going to really do anything. Okay? She doesn't think the Lord is going to help her. And she definitely doesn't think you're going to help her either. So just keep that in mind. She may say that she's with you now, and that's really of the Spirit, but just remember it. That's subject to change, man. That's subject to change. That is subject to change. Verse 15, notwithstanding she shall be saved in childbearing. If All right. So she can't just have a child with you and then say, "Oh, I'm saved. Now I had a child with this guy." And that's what they do, man. That's what they do with the child support. Like, "Oh, I got a child with this man. Now I'm getting paid. Now I don't got to do anything. Now I don't got to stay in shape." That's not how the Lord wants it. Okay, so it says, "Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith." That means she has to believe in Yahweh Shem Shai and you, and charity. That's right, being charitable. And these women are not charitable. They're selfish. Man, look how they're using child support. It's to finance their materialistic wants. Not needs, wants. And holiness with sobriety. Yeah, holiness. Keeping your legs closed. And shutting up. And covering up. Not talking too goddamn much. And not being a tattler. Right? So she has to do all these things if she wants to be saved through childbearing, through carrying your child and having your child for a man of the Lord. Okay, so these women, they just have the child, don't take care of it, then get a check from you, they go into your pockets, and then they don't play their part, but then they expect you to play your role. On top of that, take care of them, pay the bills, and do all that bullshit. And the so-called white man, he empowers them to do that. So, hey, it is what it is. So with that, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS. To you, I say Shalawam, and Shalawam unto the hopeful elect. Kwame Ashala and Abad Babal. Shalawam.